WCW Slamboree 1997, a show that really illustrates it doesn't matter what Ric Flair does. If he's in Charlotte, North Carolina, that crowd will eat him all up. I mean, you could have inserted him into a match with Luna Vachon, and that would have gotten over. Unfortunately, she just had to face Medusa, and it's not very good. But there is a lot of good on this show. We got some cruiserweights. We got Dean Malenko, Jeff Jarrett. We got football players facing each other. We got more Mortal Kombat featuring Ernest the Cat Miller. For some reason, I don't know. There's a lot going on. Let's get into it right here on the Apron Bump Podcast.
Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? What the heck is up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I am indeed your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. How's everybody's week going? Hope everybody's out there. Hope everybody's out there. Hope everybody is out there somewhere. Hopefully none of you are in here. That would be terrifying. Terrifying. I thought I heard a rumbling in my closet earlier, but nope. Probably just my sexuality. But hey, we got some WCW on deck today. WCW Slamboree 1997. What a doozy of a program. And I say this during the show. In terms of like expectations and exceeding, not exceeding, this show was very successful in that because the card is like kind of whatever. But there's a lot of stuff that happens on the show that makes it just a handsome little watch. Let's just say we got at least a match. If Bret Hart and Stone Cold wasn't this year, I'd throw the main event of this show in the match of the year conversation. It's up there. It's up there. It's great stuff, man. 6-man tag. NWO versus Ric Flair, Kevin Green, and Roddy Piper. Yeah, I know. Sounds like but we'll get into it, man. There's a lot to get into. We got Reggie White taking on Steve Mongo McMichael, two of the biggest stars in the NFL in the mid-late 90s. Very interesting stuff there. Athletes wrestling is always a lot to get into. It's always an interesting topic, but was it good? Was it not good? We'll get into it. Titles are on the line. We got the U.S. title on the line. Dean Malenko, Jeff Jarrett. We got Rey Mysterio versus some guy whose name I already forgot. We talked about it on the podcast. Let's see here. What else? Oh, Mortis and Glacier continues that whole saga, which is not quietly. It's very loudly gripping me by the cockles, and is one of my favorite things that I've watched from 97. So it's a good old time. That's saying a lot because 97 has a lot of goodness. Speaking of 1997, make sure you stick around to the end of the podcast, where the hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues. WWF versus WCW versus ECW. We pit the three companies against each other, and we see who's doing the best. We look at the matches, the characters, the show quality, all of this stuff. There's positive and negative points associated to the best and worst things. We'll get into all of that at the end of the podcast. But currently, I believe, let me check on the scoreboard here. I usually have it up. It's usually just the background of my phone, just so I can always look at it, so I can always track it. Who's in the lead? What is the current score? Yes, I thought so. WCW is currently in the lead with 34 points. ECW has 15. WWF has 9 points. What do these points mean? Hardest part of the ring. Well, again, stick around to the end, and we'll walk through it together. It's a fun old time. Speaking of a fun old time, you know what's always a fun old time is the Marks with Mike's podcast. JT returning to the show, always a good time with the 6'9" fella. Go check out the Marks with Mike's podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as live on YouTube. I'll put all of their info in the description below. They get all into the major scuttlebutt of wrestling throughout the week and beyond. So go check them out. They have a fun group of guys over there. It's always a hilarious time. You've seen past Apron Bump guests on that show passing through. So go check it out. And check me out at Apron Bump all across the board on all the social medias. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, throw daddy a subscribe, a like, a comment, tweedle my nipples, slap me in the face, and spit in my mouth. And what else? Hey, check the description for merch. Get yourself some Apron Bump aprons, huh, folks? That's a thing. Join the Discord, yada yada yada. Hey, you like this timeline of wrestling? Maybe you're coming in for the first time and you wanna catch up on the Apron Bump, because I cover everything chronologically. It's very episodic in nature, so you can binge this bad boy as much as you want. So if you like this era in particular, again, I'll put a link in the description that'll take you to my website. Under the episodes tab, you can select whatever promotion or era that you'd like to hear me chronologically recap, one of which is the Wrestling Wars of the 90s, where I cover those three companies that I mentioned earlier, all in chronological order. Or if you just want to listen to the WCW stuff, you can filter to that as well. It's all there for you. Go check it out. Binge away. We have a fun old time here on the Apron Bump. But you know what? Let's quit dilly-dallying. Let's get right to the show, shall we? WCW Slamboree 1997 with myself and JT from the Marks with Mikes podcast. Yeah, man, but Slamboree 97, bro. Appreciate you coming back on, talk more WCW. What'd you think of just overall? Thoughts on the show?
Overall, man, honestly, just going back and watching it, it was definitely a pro Charlotte, North Carolina crowd. Like you could have coughed and it would have got over.
Right. It was definitely like a Horseman show with some other stuff. It felt like, which maybe that's what it should have been. I mean, they're in Charlotte. Why not lean into it? I guess, right?
Oh yeah, you got Rick. You had you also had what's his face from the Carolina Panthers?
Kevin Green.
Kevin Green. You know, he had a match there with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and he had Roddy Piper and Ric Flair. So overall, it was a feel good moment. Did it feel like a pay per view necessarily? No. It felt like a very great episode of Monday Night Nitro if they would have aired it on Monday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the lack of Hogan, the lack of, I mean, we had DDP and Macho Man on the show technically, but they didn't have a match. There was a significant amount of star power missing, and even like the cruiserweight stuff was kind of lacking a bit. But the main event, I mean, we'll get into it, but the main event I thought was awesome. I thought it leaned into, you know, the Charlotte crowd, and like you said, a feel good moment, ended on a high note, which is the opposite of some shows nowadays. So overall, I mean, this show, I think it exceeded my expectations, if nothing else, just like looking at the card.
Yeah, it kind of took me back, back into that time, of course, huge WCW guy when I was younger, but it also made me like, damn, I totally forgot about this guy. Like, I totally forgot that Yoshi, and I'm getting ready to fuck his name up, was on the card.
Yeah. But don't worry, commentary was too.
I was like, damn, I totally forgot that he actually, was on this show, and I forgot about Steven Regal dropping the Lord from his name. Like, so that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot on there.
Yeah, well, you bring it up. Let's get right into it, man. The opening match here. We got the TV title on the line. We got the champion, Ultimate Dragon, versus Steven Regal. Like you said, dropping the Lord off of his name. Did you catch why exactly? Commentary kind of talked about it. Is it just like he thought the lordship was too much pressure or something? What's the rationale behind that?
I thought that was actually what commentary actually said. Like that's the reason why he dropped it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't nothing really huge about it, but it was like, all right, you went from Lord Steven Regal to Steven Regal. All right, we get it. Same person, same graps, just no Lord. I don't know. Maybe it was his religion. We'll find out.
Yeah, I guess. And then Ultimo, they still don't know if it's Ultimo Dragon or Ultimate Dragon. I think they're just going with Ultimate at this point, but the
Ultimate Dragon.
The Ultimate Dragon, assholes. But yeah, I mean, these two, I see this on paper. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be good. And then the match happens, and I'm still kind of like that. Like, it was a styles clash, And sometimes those styles clashes can be like a yin and yang kind of thing where they kind of complement each other. This one just felt like it did not, in my opinion. It wasn't bad, but it felt weird to me. What'd you think about it?
I mean, granted, that styles clash definitely makes great matches 9 times out of 10.
Sure.
This one was kind of like, but I will say that I did appreciate them, like, far as having a more of a grounded game.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't, I mean, you would have thought there would have been a lot more aerial attacks, but Ultimo Dragon was like fucking him up, the feet and the hands and the ground and pound and Sony Ono and involvement. You can't forget about him. Like there's a lot of talent that we really don't give him credit for introducing them to the American audience. You gotta give him credit for that. But yeah, Sony Ono's involvement really helped the match, if anything.
Yeah, it was definitely the highlight towards the end. But yeah, I would agree. It was definitely a grounded like I see this matchup and I think of like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio. Like I'm wondering if it's going to be like one of those matches. But no, it was more Ultimo fighting at Regal's style, which had some fun elements. Ultimo's like a pretty big dude, even though he's a cruiserweight luchador guy. He's like deceptively big, and the kicks he was throwing were pretty brutal. So I mean, there were part that there's like a ruggedness about this match that I didn't mind. But ultimately, like we mentioned, the highlight. So at the end, Ultimo's giving Regal some kicks on the outside, and Ultimo gets back in the ring. And as the ref is dealing with Ultimo, Sonny Ono, who is the guy who brought Dragon to WCW, he starts giving Regal some kicks, but then Ultimo Dragon interrupts him. He grabs Regal, throws him in the ring, and Sonny Ono is none too pleased with this. He gives Ultimo Dragon a kick, a huge back kick to the back of the head of Ultimo Dragon. I mean, you thought the John Cena heel turn was brutal. I mean, this just shattered me, just seeing these two break up. And Regal capitalizes, reverse suplex, which looked pretty clean, and then the Regal stretch for the old tap out.
And a 4-time WCW television champion.
Look at that. Is he where does he rank in terms of WCW TV champions?
He gotta be up there. To me, you gotta put him at least top 5 because he was one of those people that was synonymous with the title. You seen the TV championship, you knew William Regal was somewhere inside the hunt, or he had the title. Either way, he was involved. Now, that back kick that he caught, the back to Ultimo, that back kick that he caught to the back of the head. Commentary is like, oh, it was an accident. I think it was either Dusty or Brains like that wasn't no accident. Like he kicked the shit out of Ultimo.
No, that was kind of my thought when I first saw this. I was like, did they kind of like botch the timing of it? Because it could have been like Ono was giving Regal kicks. Was the idea that Ono was going for Regal but accidentally hit Dragon? But no, when you watch it back, it's like, no, this was premeditated. This was I mean, he was just a savage kick to Ultimo. And
I bought you in, I'll take you out.
I guess you don't disrespect him. Don't disrespect it. Now, my question, because I don't really know what the follow-up is of this, because we got Steven Regal, new TV champion. We got Sonny Ono, no longer with Dragon. Does Sonny Ono maybe align with Steven Regal? Does he replace the Lord with Ultimo? Ultimo Steven Regal, thoughts?
No. Ultimo Steven Regal would have been diabolical, but
give him a mask and everything? Come on.
A whole mask on that body? Nah, I'm sorry. I can't take it serious. I can't. That's kind of, funnier than what just happened this past Monday with not Chad Gable.
Right.
Gracias. But no, I think with the follow-up to this, I want to say it was Sonny Ono and Ultimate Dragon. Ultimo Dragon, I'm not sure they had a match or whatever, but if I remember correctly, I think those two went at it.
I don't know, man. I'm still holding out hope for Regal maybe having some like Oriental robes out, getting real sketchy with it, having like an Asian gimmick. But there's still time. There's still time. We'll see. But man, the hits just keep on coming. We got a ladies match in WCW, so you know it's not going to matter. But we got Medusa taking on Luna Vachon. I mean, pretty I mean, for women's wrestling in 1997, you don't get much bigger than this, I feel like. So,
no, you don't.
Not saying a lot, but it's just, I don't know, man. What do you make of women's wrestling here in WCW at this point in time?
Not serious. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I'm an avid fan for women wrestling. Like, I love women's wrestling, right? I say it all the time. Women's wrestling is carrying wrestling right now, outside of the big players. But back in '97, to follow up with Medusa throwing, Alundra Blaze. No, Medusa throwing the title into the trash can. There was really not a lot done after that. Like nothing. So you definitely missed opportunity. Yeah, you got a big name, but no one's really paying attention to the match. Obviously, you can hear from the crowd. Short matches. Women's wrestling in '97 was just as bad as it was before the women's evolution.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely agree. And the follow up, like you mentioned, of that huge moment of Medusa dropping the title in the trash can, I don't think she ever became a champion in WCW. I might be wrong on that, but I mean, if she hasn't at this point, and they've had the title for like at least a year at this point, which my first thought was, why is the title not on the line here? Like, why aren't one of these women the champion? Most people in that arena probably couldn't name you the women's champion at WCW at this point, which I think was Akira Hokuto at this point. I think she's still the inaugural champion. Which is, you know, the crazier thing is that they just crowned the first ever women's cruiserweight champion, which is like, what, you're gonna add another title in a league where you're not doing anything?
That you're not showcasing at all. Not even on WCW Worldwide. Not even on Saturday night. It's like you're not showcasing it.
I'll give you $1 million if you can name me the first ever women's cruiserweight champion.
Jacqueline.
No, it's a good guess. Good guess. No, it was Toshi Uematsu, of course. Won it on WCW main event in like a month before the show. The title was active for almost exactly a year with 3 champions. So, yeah.
How many defenses?
It doesn't say here. Not a lot. I mean, let's see if it's like on the Wikipedia at all. I mean, I wouldn't guess a lot. I'd guess less than 10. Women's cruiserweight champion. So we had the initial tournament. Doesn't say. I don't even think Wikipedia cares enough to put it there. But yeah, crazy.
Damn.
Seems like it was more like a Japan thing. Like there's some title changes in Japan, so I don't even know. Maybe it was just like an ambassador role. Like, hey, WCW exists when they're wrestling over in Japan. I don't know.
Well, you know what it probably was. You know, they had that relationship with New Japan back then, so
yeah,
maybe it was one of those things.
Shout out Sonny Ono. He's present throughout this entire card, man. Let me tell you. But yeah, Medusa, Luna Vachon. Like, this hasn't even really been like a story on Nitro. Like, they had a little run in on one of the pay-per-views. It might have been the one you and Dallas were on. I can't remember. But they haven't really followed up on it, and it's just a match. Pretty clunky. It makes me appreciate women's wrestling nowadays, if nothing else, with how prominent and how the women have evolved athletically since this point. So, but Medusa wins with a really good looking German suplex. If nothing else, she could hit a goddamn German suplex. But
nice bridge too,
beautiful bridge. But no stakes here, and yeah, it was just. What's up with the? Did Luna employ like a liver hold at some point?
I don't know what you want to call that, but I'm like, what's going on here? Like, are you trying to rip it out? Like, are you trying to do some damn magic or whatever? But Luna inside the match I'm going to say this.
Say it.
God rest his soul.
Oh boy.
I was a huge fan of Luna. Was not a huge fan of Luna in WCW though.
I think that's fair.
You know,
I think that's fair.
I kind of feel like it lost some of its oomph. Like when she was like paired up with Bam Bam and all that, like to me, that's when she was like she had more of an appeal. And I know it has a lot to do like with who you work with, but this match really wasn't a great match if you're talking about top 5 Luna matches. This doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No, I mean, and Medusa is like, she's a good dance partner to have, if nothing else. Like, if you're gonna have a good match in the women's division in WCW, it's gonna be with Medusa. So,
oh yeah, for sure, and that and she did that, which is why she was the most over inside the match. But I just don't think in this particular match, it just for me, just not like Luna top 5.
No, she did have a pretty sick ECW run like a year before this.
Yeah,
and even this stuff with like the oddities, like later in WWF, that was like better than this for sure. So don't know, but we'll see how they follow up on that. But yeah,
to answer your question, no, she never had a run with the WCW championship.
Appreciate you doing the research, man on the street, giving us the fact. No, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know how you don't do that, but interesting times. But speaking of interesting, we got Mean Gene on the stage here. He's kind of he's the thread that holds these shows together, and he's plugging the hotline here. Apparently, if you call the hotline, you get the scuttlebutt on a key member of WCW maybe leaving the company. Do you recall who this could have been at this point?
I'm not sure, but if I had to take a guess, it's 1997. Key member? I don't know. Maybe it was Brian Cage. I don't know. Like it's 97. Like who really screams out to you in 97? Who's going to jump ship? Right? Like it's 97.
Right.
Who left?
Trying to think of like who shows up in WWF, like King of the Ring, SummerSlam time period. Not Regal. We're not at Man's Man yet. Unfortunately.
Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, that's a good guess. That could be it. You know what? That is it. I'm gonna run with it. That's in my head. That's the fact.
Yeah.
So
that's Jeff Jarrett, bro. He left in 97. And I want to say that Jeff Jarrett left WCW, returned to WWE in 97, and Randy Savage also left WCW after the failing to reach a deal. This is in 97.
Really? Macho did?
Yeah.
I guess they reconciled at some point because he...
Yeah, obviously he came back, but the messed up part about Mean Gene, you got to listen to his wordplay. He said, children, ask your parents, but call now. Ask your parents, but call now. As a kid, you know how fucked up I am about that? Let me go ahead and call him real quick. Mom, I'm on the phone, WCW. Like
pipe down, I'm talking to Gene.
Mean Gene got something to say.
Did you? I can't remember. I might have asked you this last time. Did you ever call the hotline back in the day?
Call once.
Yeah.
Call once and definitely paid for it, man.
That's right. You got your ass. I remember. Yeah. I remember.
Ass still on fire, man.
Well, Macho's ass is also on fire here. He interrupts Mean Gene. He's being Macho Man. I don't know what he's saying, but we're still in the middle of the Macho Man DDP feud. So Macho's on the stage talking shit. DDP comes through the crowd, and he's got a broken crutch with him. And this crutch was used by Macho Man onto DDP on Nitro a few weeks ago. So DDP's trying to get some comeuppance here, and Macho Man runs away from old Dallas. Dallas gets in the ring, grabs a mic, and he says a bunch of stuff. But one thing he says is, I bet you got to go to Hogan's house and wash his car and kiss his ass.
Ooh.
Good stuff, right? Good one?
That one right there, washing someone's car back in '97 and kissing their ass. That's the equivalent of saying that you Hogan's bitch. Like that's all that's all he was saying at that moment. But I will say, Macho Man interrupted Mean Gene to come out there and grab the mic, all coked up. Yeah, DDP doesn't want any of the Macho Man. Yeah, he don't want the madness. And then you get DDP coming out, and he comes out, and like you said, of course, he says, you're about to watch his car and kiss Hogan's ass. That was the final straw. He even fucked up and called Vincent Virgil.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, go back and listen. It was like he was telling the guys move out the way, and he started naming them. He was like, Virgil, move out the way. Easy, you and me have our problems, but right now I gotta go handle something. Goes down there and gets beat up with a man with a broken crutch. Not just him, several members of the NWO got their ass beat.
I mean, like Macho Man, like maybe he's all hot and bothered. Maybe it's the Ico Pro running through his veins. But I don't know. There's a man in the ring with a weapon. Why are you just gonna slide in there? You're just asking to get your ass kicked. I don't know. It's the madness, I guess, got to him. But DDP breaks the crutch over his back. Stupid Buff Backwell's in there. He gets shit canned by the crutch. DDP even whacks Eric Bischoff with it, which you don't see that a lot at this point. But who saves the day? None other than Scott Norton with a kidney shot to old DDP, and this allows everybody to gang up on him. You got the B squad of the NWO out here giving the boots to old Dallas, but the Giant comes out, makes the save, runs off the NWO, and we got DDP and the Giant standing tall. I could have sworn Big Show was going to turn on DDP here. The way he did his taunt for the choke slam. I thought he was about to smack the shit out of DDP, but no, he's just big dumb oaf. But I guess it was a fun little segment for what it was.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, and I think the reason why you thought that because his hands are just massive. So either way it goes is like he could be waving at you. I'm thinking in my mind you about to hit me, but DDP swung the hell out that crutch. I think he hit Virgil or Vincent so hard with the crutch and the piece went flying. So yeah, this was a good little fun segment. But like I said, Monday Night Raw, not pay per view.
Yeah,
sorry, Monday Night Nitro, not a pay per view.
Monday Nitro.
Yeah.
Not Monday Night Nitro. Monday Nitro.
Monday Nitro. Take the night out.
Some people, you're going to get, hate mail if you call it Monday Night Nitro. I know there's some people out there that get hot and bothered about it. So I just want to make sure you're safe. Let me ask you a question. What is your favorite Yuji Yasuroka match?
Honestly, I want to say I think he did a series of matches. I want to say, I think he had one with Jericho. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah?
Or if it's not Jericho, definitely the one that I watched on WCW Slamboree.
Yeah. 1997 against Rey Mysterio Jr.? Yeah, probably.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was. I'd never heard of this fella before. He's here taking on Rey Mysterio. Yuji, he had a pretty short career. He retires like 2 years after this, for no particular reason. I think he just, was done with wrestling. He had a decent little run in New Japan. He was in the midst of the junior heavyweight division. He even teamed with old Tomohiro Ishii for a little bit. I think they were champions over there. So it just gives you insight to how long that guy's been wrestling. But
yeah, damn.
Yuji, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was my first look at him. He didn't really leave an impression on me. He was fine. But this to have like a pretty lukewarm Rey Mysterio match, which I kind of thought this is very hard to do. Him and Prince Iaukea are the only guys ever to have bad matches with Rey Mysterio. So, it was fine. I don't know what you make of this match, I guess.
I give it 4 packs of ass with a side of hell no.
A lot of ass.
Yeah, man. It wasn't his best work. and this goes for both of them, right? It wasn't either one of their best works. But
Yeah.
you would have thought they would have had a little bit more chemistry because they had tagged together in Japan. They tagged together before. They faced off against each other in a tag match. So you would have thought this would have been like a better match, right? Not the case. I think the crowd didn't understand his character because right off the bat, as soon as he came down now, boo! I'm like, God damn! Like you even let the commentators get his name out. But it wasn't like, he was horrible. I just want to say like the feel of the crowd definitely played into it too. Like if you're watching from home, you listen to the crowd. Like if they're booing at home, you kind of like, you know what? They're probably right. This guy's a pack ass, right?
Four packs.
4 packs, right? But for Mysterio though, I think that this, if you put it next to the Prince Ikea match, Ikea, I think Prince Ikea match was better.
Wow, hot take. Hot take. I mean, the only do Prince Ikea and Yuji Yasuroka ever have a match against each other? That's the only way to solve it, I think.
Yeah, we gotta go back inside the DeLorean, the wrestling DeLorean, and try to book these guys inside of a match. Gotta get Doc Brown and Martin McFly to go back. You gotta go save Slamboree 97. Something terribly goes wrong. There's a match with Rey Mysterio.
It's the match. What's the Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, the match that nobody asked for?
Exactly.
But yeah, this match is whatever. Ray throws out a power bomb here, which caught me off guard, which is kind of funny to see. We get the classic Ray doing the plancha over the referee. Those are pretty much the highlights here. It was a lot of just arm bars by Yuji that really didn't lead to anything. Why are you working the arm of Rey Mysterio? He doesn't even use his arms really. He just springboards off the ropes. Stupid idiot.
What about the brain? It's like if I was him, I'll be working the legs. How about you bite him in the leg? Like I don't know what brain problem was the whole night, but he just wanted people to bite people in the leg, like literally the whole entire time on commentary. Like I listen to the commentary a lot because they be saying some outlandish shit and off the wall shit. Like especially if you listen to what they saying back then and you compare it to today's term, you be like, hey yo, like biting the leg is kind of wild. But
hey, don't kink shame brain, okay? People like what they like.
No, it was the commentary had me going. Honestly, that's the only thing that kept me up during this whole entire match. It was not good.
Yeah, especially when the match is like particularly boring. The commentary has to like entertain themselves, and you got Dusty and Bobby Heenan. They're like you can't keep those guys tame. That's for sure. But yeah, towards the end of this match, it kind of kicked in a little bit. Yuji goes for his double arm DDT. He hits it for a 2 count. He tries to hit it again, but Ray counters into a Northern Lights suplex, and then Rey Mysterio hits the West Coast Pop for the 1, 2, 3. So Ray gets the win here. Also, one thing about Yuji that was pissing me off throughout this entire match, I hate the way he pins people. That's why he didn't win this match. He doesn't hook a leg. He's not on the shoulders. He's just doing the goofy like Undertaker pin, just putting his hands on the guy's. Like, who do you think you are, Yuji? Enough.
Man, you are not the Undertaker. You are not him. Okay, you're probably about 10 pounds heavier than Ray. You need hook a leg.
That's probably why he retired. He didn't know how to pin people. But man, quite the shift here. We got old Mortal Kombat on our hands here. We got Mortis, accompanied by James Vanderberg, taking on Glacier. This is pretty campy, obviously, but I fucking love this. Yeah. What about you?
I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it for more reasons that I could really name. Huge fan of the Mortis character. A lot of people may have different opinions, but I like the Mortis. This was right around the time I want to say that we got Kane, right? I think Kane was what, 96?
Pretty close, yeah.
96, 97?
Like 5 months after this, I think, is where Kane comes in. Yep.
So Mortis is out there, paint over the face, got the black contacts in, so he's all blacked out. And, he has the martial arts background. I enjoy Mortis, but then you got Glacier, right? This is like Sub-Zero. You got him coming out there. So this was literally a Mortal Kombat match in your face. And man, was it a stiff one with those guys. Not saying they were working stiff, but them shots, like there was barely a lot of wrestling during that match. It was more just, Mortal Kombat, right?
Right. Yeah, this was almost more like a segment than a match because the match itself is pretty short. They had a great match. I think it was uncensored. It was like a month or two before this. But this is kind of just furthering the feud here. We've recently been introduced to Wrath, the new bodyguard, I guess, of Mortis, who goes on to great things afterwards. But so it starts out, Mortis comes out. And old James Vanderberg, who, for people who don't know, it's James Mitchell.
Sinister Minister.
Sinister Minister, man. He yells at the camera to Glacier, "Tonight, we're going to send you back to your igloo in a body bag." Does Glacier live in an igloo?
I don't know, but I wonder if James Mitchell did a bump before he said that, because he's obviously notorious for bringing cocaine to the ring. I don't know.
So it wasn't snow coming from the ceiling, is what you're saying?
No, man, that was pure straight gate. That was that A1 Trade Equal. Maybe that hit him. I don't know, but no, this James Mitchell, great work. He's always been like, inside the scheme of things, right? You go all the way back to, I think, even sometime inside NWA, right? You go back. Father James Mitchell is present. So I kind of enjoy James Mitchell in this role.
Oh, he's great. I mean, TNA with Abyss. I mean, he's across the board great, I thought. So they've Mortis and Vanderberg, they've stolen the helmet of Glacier, which is a shitty, like the original NFL helmet, just like a leather, stupid, like half a coconut on his head, which just don't wear the helmet, Glacier. You look like an asshole with it. You already have enough goofy entrance gear. You don't need a helmet. But I guess that's the source of their beef here. Glacier comes out and sprints to the ring. Hot start, which made me laugh because they're in the ring wrestling and the snow is still falling to the sky. So they have this like backdrop of, quote unquote snow hitting the mat, or not the mat, but in the crowd. And it was kind of cool, I guess. But ultimately, they only fight for a bit. Glacier gets hit with a jerk, or Mortis attacks the knee of Glacier, and then he waves out for Wrath to come out, which my question is, why didn't Wrath just come out immediately, like at the beginning? But it's whatever. They had a method to their madness, I guess. Glacier starts to fight back, hits Mortis with a German, and then Wrath is in. He grabs the staff that Mortis brings to the ring and chokes out Glacier. DQ finish. Wrath chokes out Glacier. And then Mortis with this, I don't even know what you would call it, this like face buster of sorts on the steel steps, which when I saw this coming, I was like, this isn't going to look good. But when he did it, I was like, damn, that looked pretty fucking devastating. What do you think about that?
I haven't seen that since. I have not seen that move since. Bring that back.
Dude, I mean, Chris Kanyon. He's so innovative.
Yeah.
Not just innovative for the sake of being innovative. All of his stuff looks good. It's love me some Chris Kanyon here.
He was ridiculously good. Like he really was as a wrestler. And I'm just kind of like, how do you not capitalize on this guy? Like, I would have kept the Mortis character going. He never had to take that mask off.
We could have had Mortis versus Kane maybe at some point.
Thank you. You took the words out of my mouth. Mortis could have been their Kane in a sense, as far as like, a character with a dark persona, mask, right. rough housing shit, taking over shit. Like, that could have been pretty cool. They fucked that up.
Or even bring Glenn Jacobs to WCW. Like, Mortis has Wrath. Glacier could hire Kane, then you have Fire and Ice. Yeah, Fire and the new Fire and Ice, new and improved Fire and Ice.
I like it.
And it's just missed the boat. I agree. As if that's not enough. We got staffs, we got snow, we got beatdowns. Who makes the save? We don't get Kane to even the odds here, but we do get Ernest the Cat Miller.
Oh my God.
Somebody call his mama. You know what I'm saying? Somebody call his mama. I guess he's like a legit karate champion though, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool.
No, man. That man's legit. Too legit to quit. Like when I seen him hop over the guardrail, the first thing I thought was, why does he remind me of the blue Power Ranger? Was it TJ from Power Rangers in Space?
Right.
Like he hopped over the guardrail and he's kicking ass. Like, you know, jumping up in the air, kick here, kick. He literally kicked everyone out the ring, bro. One man.
Dude, I mean, these tornado kicks he's throwing out there. He hits Mortis with one. It looked good.
Okay.
I mean, I only know this guy from his brief WWE run where he was coming out to Brodus Clay's music and doing the goofy dancing with what was his manager? LaFawn or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated that character. Ernest Miller's like bottom tier for me, but I see this and I'm like, oh, maybe this guy has something. So I'm kind of in with this. I'm inclined to see where this goes. It is kind of weird. You have all these like supernatural Mortal Kombat characters, and then you just got Ernest, this guy in slacks, hopping the guardrail. But we'll see how he fits in. I mean, commentary thought it was just a fan topping the guardrail, which, you know, maybe it was. Who knows? But yeah, so that's where we're at with the Mortal Kombat. But we move on from that to something a little more traditional. We got the U.S. title on the line, the champion. Dean Malenko taking on Jeff Jarrett. What's wrong? What's wrong, JT?
Bro, Dean Malenko's facial expression did not change from the moment he came down.
He's the Iceman.
Yeah, I get it. I get it, you the Iceman, but god damn, like locked in, like that 1,000 don't stand for a man with 1,000 holes. That 1,000 stands for the T1000 because he was locked in like a Terminator. Like he never, like, I watched the match back. I watched him come down. I watched the bell ring. I watched him even get into some trouble inside the match. Facial expression never changed. Like, so I'm like, all business, straight business. I'm here for this check. I ain't smiling. I ain't doing none of that. But for his eyes to never move position whatsoever, that man's a Terminator, bro. He's not real. He's not.
I'm telling you. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who? Dean Malenko is the Terminator. I agree with you.
Terminator 5, make it happen. Or 6.
Going from Arnold to Dean Malenko. Yeah, that's something. That's a thought. I don't know. You could put Cloverleafs on robots or whatever the hell. But I mean, honestly, I didn't have like a ton of notes on this. It was just like an old school good match. You got the figure 4 versus the Cloverleaf. We got some shenanigans at the end, but as far as the match itself, what'd you think about it?
Match itself was actually pretty good. I mean, especially having, of course, rest in peace, woman there, and then you had Miss Jacqueline show up as well. So to see that inclusion, and I think this was like either right before the one that we covered, or this is after the one that
I think you're referring to the next match, woman and Jacqueline.
Yeah.
They all blend together. I get it. I think who's out here? Deborah's out here though.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Deborah.
Yeah.
Take that back. Hold on. Was that? No, that wasn't Deborah. That was woman.
Was woman out here? Oh, I don't remember. She was with
woman. Woman was with Benoit. She was with him, and then Jacqueline came down at the top.
Well, no, this is Dean Malenko, Jeff Jarrett.
Oh shit, my bad. Wrong match. Wrong.
It all blurs together. I don't blame you.
This is on me.
That's on me. Y'all be good.
Y'all be good, North Carolina. I'll see y'all later now. But no, but this one was good. Okay, so remember the rumor? Here's Chef Chef.
Yes.
This was good. This was actually a really good match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I was watching it and I was like, this is just good wrestling. Sometimes it's just good wrestling. Like you got two guys that can go at it. U.S. title, Slamboree is like we're bringing tradition back to wrestling type of deal, and this represents it. So, but we get a little chicanery towards the end. Mongo comes out because he needs Deborah to come with them because he needs to get ready for his match later. So he takes Deborah away from Jeff Jarrett, and he kind of leaves Jarrett out in the cold. He kind of distracts Jarrett in a way. And this allows Dean Malenko to hit the Tiger Powerbomb right into the cloverleaf for the submission. Dean Malenko retains. Good stuff, man. Most of my Dean Malenko consumption is his WWF run. So it's cool to see him in such a prominent role here. U.S. champion.
He was a beast back in WCW.
Monster. And I knew he was like cruiserweight champion. I knew he had a good run in that division. I didn't know he was so prominent. This is like, I wouldn't call this main event, but it's, upper mid card. Like he's a champion getting wins on pay-per-view against Jeff Jarrett, who's, pretty big deal. So that was good stuff here, I thought.
Yeah, very great stuff, man. I think he's held almost every title in WCW besides the heavyweight championship, if I'm not mistaken. Right, I could be wrong. Right. But yeah, he was prominent then.
The women's cruiserweight champion probably got his hands on at some point. I would imagine. Don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to tune in on Nitro or main event, wherever that title's defended.
Not dressing up like Santino or Santina.
Deanna Malenko?
Deanna Malenko. Miss WCW.
He might make a pretty lady, this Dean Malenko. I'm not opposed.
Only if the facial expression changes from time to time.
You got to work for it. You got to get the gleam in his eyes. You got to pull it out of him. So
pulling it out of him is kind of wild, but continue.
I think Ming could probably pull something out of him. Speaking of which, he's in this next match, taking on Chris Benoit in a death match. What are the rules of a death match?
I mean, honestly, if it's a death match, I think someone got to go. But apparently, there are no rules.
Well, we know who won this match. But just a long match. But
shit.
10-year match. But Haku is the winner, I guess.
Shit.
Tongue and death grip takes a while. The tongue and death grip, I think, was the source of the whole that whole scenario. So blame Haku or Ming, whatever. But the rules, as depicted by commentary, it's you can only win by knockout or submission. So kind of last man standing ish, but you can also submit. So, and this is a source from the Chris Benoit Kevin Sullivan feud, which is still going. And Ming is kind of like the hired assassin, he's part of the Dungeon of Doom, but he's the hired gun for Sullivan to try to take out Benoit. Because the task has been unable to so far. So, in the end, I had notes on the entrances. First of all, Benoit comes out to a huge pop because it's that Horseman music, and that immediately just elicits the crowd. Just goes ape shit over this. Then Ming comes out with Jimmy Hart, Dungeon of Doom guy, and he chases Jimmy away. He doesn't want Jimmy in the picture at all. So it seems like old Jimmy Hart is kind of losing control of his dungeon. We'll have more on that later, but I did not know what to expect from this. I ended up loving it. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, that was the one. That was one of the better matches on the card, to be honest. Yeah. Now to get back to what I was saying earlier, so
Eager Beaver over here.
Yeah, Jacqueline comes out. You got one. Jacqueline's out there, and you see her, and then you see, of course, Woman. So they still have their little thing going on, but the match overall was great. I enjoyed Ming. Like Ming's another character. Like, how did we not capitalize on this?
Yeah.
As a solo act, How do we not capitalize on Ming? Like, come on, this same shit Roman Reigns doing in 2024. He could be doing this shit now. I mean, he could have did this shit in '97 if only if they had the proper booking. Because think about it, he had the Barbarian. You could have went in and got the Tonga Kid. Because I think around '97, like the Tonga Kid was up out of WWF. You could have got Rikishi. He wasn't signed at the time.
Prince Iakea, he's
come on, man. Look, Bloodline right there. Could have did it right then and there.
The Bloodline with Ming at the helm, with Prince Iakea bias. Prince Iakea could have been the Jey Uso of the late '90s.
Yeah.
When you really think about it.
I mean, you get him, and you get a Barbarian involved. He could have been like the Jimmy Uso, in a sense.
Right.
I don't know.
Fatu, he's not doing anything. He's the Sultan, I think, in WWF right now.
Yeah, we see what happened with that. That gimmick was over with real quick.
Dumb boots. Yeah, I mean they had the tools. They just didn't have the fuck. Get you a Ulafala. Yeah, run with it. Who's the Paul Heyman? Would that be Jimmy Hart?
Nah, we get Jimmy Hart out of there, and you put you just said his name. The feud that he had with Benoit.
Kevin Sullivan.
Could have got Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, that actually does fit. That's like as close to Paul Heyman as you can get, like aesthetically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I maybe, you know what? In a different life. Where's that DeLorean? Let's get in that. Forget the Prince Iakea, whatever, Yuji Takaroshi, whatever his name is. We're getting this Bloodline stuff hot in 1997. Let's do it.
Marty, we gotta go back. We gotta go do the Bloodline back in '97. No.
Prince Iakea needs a push. I don't know. But yeah. So, but yeah, no, I agree. This is arguably match of the night. I might throw the main event at match of the night, but this is a close second to me. It's a death match. So at least me watching this with 2025 lenses, I'm like, okay, they're going to break out the plunder. Who's going to go through a table? Who's going to get thrown off the stage? You got to knock somebody out. So you got to like do a Canadian destroyer through a flaming table with thumbtacks. Nope. No weapons in this match. No plunder. Just violence.
No blood.
No blood either. But it's like, I don't know, like the match starts and it's like kind of slow. Like they're feeling each other out, but there's like this tension underneath. Like the crowd, you could tell the crowd's like reacting to it. They like know some shit's gonna happen. So I don't know, it just pays so well. Then you have the whole, like you said, Jacqueline comes out. But then she sees woman. She's like, oh, never mind. And just walks away. I don't even know why she bothered coming out. And then Ming's in the ring. Just these savage, like, clubbing blows to Benoit. There's no technique to him. He comes off just like a savage from the Tongan Islands, which, I mean, is just so good. So good. Then you have Benoit. He gets knocked down. The referee's counting. You know, he's counting to 10 to see if he's knocked out. And then Benoit's, like, hulking up. It was just so good. Crowd was into Benoit's comebacks here. Benoit hits a sick suicide dive here. Just almost goes through Ming here. And locks in the crossface onto Ming. Ming fights out of it. Benoit then goes for the headbutt off the top rope. But Ming catches him in the Tongan death grip. And Benoit gets put to sleep by the Tongan death grip. Man, good stuff.
Bring that back.
Not enough Tongan death grips in today's wrestling. I agree.
That back.
I'm always telling people that. I'm always screaming that at people. Nobody understands, but yeah, it's got to watch this match and they'll understand. What is the? Are you familiar with the technique of the Tongan death grip? What is happening to the anatomy during this hold?
So, talking from my kid's mind, I believe by grabbing the Adam's apple, you're crushing the windpipes and the body is shutting down. Think of it as like a slow Vulcan death grip, right? If you watch Star Trek, you know if Spock or any Vulcan, if they hit you right there in that nerve, everything shut down, like you did. So this is to me like a slow Vulcan death grip via the throat. Pause. But but I think that this move need to come back. I mean, you got the Tongan twins out there. You can throw this move on anybody. Matter of fact, give it to Jacob Fatu. He makes everything look good.
Ooh.
If not him, give it to Zilla.
I'll tell you what, I kind of like this more than the Samoan Spike.
Yeah,
which is kind of similar deal. Yeah, I don't know. I never looked at Ming as a throat goat, but
shit, that is
the way you describe it, it all makes sense to me, man.
not throat goat.
Spread the word, Haku, the throat goat. Just don't tell him I said that. But after that, speaking of throat goats, we got the Steiner brothers out here, donned in leather. What do you think of their leather singlets?
I ain't gonna hold you. I was never a fan of the leather era for the Steiner brothers.
There's something unsettling about it. I don't know.
I don't know what it was, bro. It was like for me, when it came to tag teams, like you kind of used to your favorite team wearing certain shit. Like when it was Harlem Heat, you knew you was gonna get leather, and you knew with the Steiner brothers you was gonna get spandex, right? When they came out there with that leather, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Is this dominatrix? Like someone gonna, he has the dog collar around his neck. I'm just waiting for someone to grab the chain to put a ball in his mouth. I don't know. But I was not a fan of the red licorice leather singlets. Not at all.
I think you actually just nailed it. I think it's the dog collar that makes it a little too real.
Mm-hmm.
A little too on the nose.
Dominatrix is trying to tell you.
But we got the sexy Steiners out here taking on the Dungeon of Doom, represented by Hugh Morris and Conan. Odelay, folks. This was fine, nothing too crazy, nothing that I would, go out of your way to watch, but it was fine for what it was. It was interesting seeing Scott being the one getting his ass kicked and then Rick getting the hot tags. I feel like it was usually the opposite. I don't know, I could be wrong, but this was fine. What'd you think about it?
I mean, like I said, WCW Thursday Night Thunder. Like I said, it wasn't a pay-per-view worthy match. I just feel like they just threw it up there because it wasn't like they had a long, outstanding beef going on with them two prior to this. I don't think there was like any best of two or best of three going on between Dungeon and Doom. They just threw this shit on there. But honestly, Conan coming out, talking about Vatos Locos, recruiting people, gang membership. Shout out to Conan, putting people onto the gang culture, especially me as a child. Thank you for letting me know about the gangs. Vatos Locos for life.
So it's Conan's fault, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, it has nothing to do with Eazy-E, NWA, Snoop, Dr. Dre, Death Row.
What does Eric Bischoff have to do with this?
Yeah, nothing at all.
Easy.
No, not at all. It has nothing to do with Eric Bischoff. Nah, but Conan coming out, I was a huge fan of him. He just had that swag. Huge fan of him. Hugh Morris in long spandex.
Very interesting.
I don't remember him having like a long run with those. I always remember him having like the short spandex, but him coming out there, I never liked them as a tag team.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Conan in the Dungeon of Doom is just weird in general. I thought.
Yeah, I'm glad he turned and went to the NWO.
Yeah. I mean, he's destined for some good things there, but before they break up, we have this match. Towards the end, Hugh Morris goes for his moonsault onto Rick Steiner, but Rick gets out of the way, and Scott Steiner hits the Frankensteiner to Hugh Morris for the 1-2-3. So Steiners get the win here. And like you mentioned, Dungeon of Doom, they're not too happy. Conan and Hugh Morris, they're beefing. Conan ends up laying out Hugh Morris with a DDT, and he's out of here. Like I said, Jimmy, he can't control his man Ming, and he also can't control these fellas. So the Dungeon of Doom is on the downslope, which you hate to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Bloated from within. Tough break, Jimmy.
Tough break. But by the way, did you catch this Scott Steiner interview he did with Chris Van Fleet within the past couple days?
I did. I caught a few, of course, of the clips that are out. I haven't watched the whole interview, but
Same, yeah.
he has dropped some knowledge about some shit, and he's pretty much confirmed what everyone says about Hogan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, come on now. Like, listen, if one or two people say it, right? Yeah, whatever. But when you get like damn near everybody calling you an asshole and a piece of shit,
Yeah.
you probably are an asshole and a piece of shit.
Common denominator. You know what I'm saying? That's I don't know, man. Yeah, he didn't seem to be a fan of Hulk Hogan, but also he says that he invented the 450 splash, which I did my research. I couldn't find anybody doing it before him.
I found it.
Did you?
It was him. It was definitely him.
Yeah. I mean, the call, he landed on his feet and then did this flip. But yeah, it's close enough. You know, a round up, I guess. It was a 430 splash, maybe. But yeah, it's very interesting. And he invented the Frankensteiner, which I guess is different than the Hurricane Rana. It's funny to see how pissed he gets when he sees people conflating the two. But yeah, interesting stuff. Scott Steiner, man, he's an innovator. You think Chris Canyon's an innovator? Got nothing, no big pop a pump. So, but man, after that, we got some foosball going on in the ring. We got two Super Bowl champs going at it. Reggie White taking on Steve Mongo McMichael. So I mean, I was young I was 4 or 5 years old at this point. So I wasn't tuned in to the NFL. Maybe you were. I mean, were you like tuned into football at this point?
I was tuned in. I actually had the opportunity to meet Reggie White as a child.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think this was probably, if I'm remembering this right, this is 97. I think I met him that year. Actually, he came to my church in Florida. He was visiting, and there's a picture. I got to get it from my dad, but I think I ended up meeting Reggie White, Chris Byers, Chris Carter, a who's who in NFL. Like they're all at the church. But
wow,
I had no idea that he actually wrestled in 97 until I watched this match.
Yeah. But how big of a deal is this in 1997? Like, maybe is there like a comparison you can make to today?
Okay, so if I can make a comparison today, far as sports wise, in 97, this would have been as big as, let's say, oh, perfect. This is be as big as Gronk and Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Coming into wrestling, having a match.
Yeah, two recognizable names. Even if you're not a football fan, you kind of know who they are. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't really watching football at the time, so it's kind of lost on me, like the magnitude of this match, but the crowd was into it. Like I said, two Super Bowl champs, so they're not, just fifth string players. Like they're legit dudes. Yeah. I thought this match was okay. It kind of got a grade on a scale. I feel like when you got like a non-wrestler coming in wrestling, but I thought Reggie White held his own, and Mongo I feel like is still like super underrated in terms of his wrestling ability. I don't know. What'd you make of this?
This was actually a pretty fun match, right? For me, just going back, just watching it, right, and just like, man, like I actually met this guy, but. Reggie did look a little lost in the ring at first, but he found his footing like really towards the end of the match, and then of course having teammates come out to help him inside the match also made it fun. Obviously, the referee is blind as a bat as usual, doesn't know what's going on behind him. I think honestly, I mean Reggie should have been the winner, but the ref, of course, distracted.
Those damn WCW refs, man.
The worst.
Like you said, blind as bats. Yeah, the match, it was longer than I thought it would be, but it was okay. I do love the the classic meathead shoulder blocks in the beginning, just two football players running at each other. That's what you want when you have two football players wrestling each other. You want them to get on the line, 3-point stance. Let's see who. Yeah, exactly. They draw on the line in the middle of the ring. And then they like charge at each other, and then Mongo like goes low with the front chop block. Oh, it's just such good shit, man. At some point, Reggie White he leapfrogs the next chop block, and he gets Mongo all flustered to where Gilbert Brown, Reggie White's teammate, comes out, and he's a big boy. He's like a 400-pound dude. Yeah. Carries Mongo to the ring, rolls him in the ring. I will say this, Reggie White, pretty damn good drop kick on him.
Mm.
I mean, that's not like a natural thing to do. So the fact they just whipped that out and it looked as good as it did.
What is he, like 6'5", 6'6"?
Something like that, yeah.
390 or something. Well, I ain't gonna say 390, 365 or whatever.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, doing a drop kick, yeah. They ain't no light shit.
No. So big fan of that. Not so big. So Mongo gets control of the match at some point, and he's yelling at Reggie, "Jesus may got your soul, but I got your ass."
Whoa, big pause.
Big pause. What does that even? What could that even mean?
I don't know what that could mean, but I just know that definitely sounds like someone who doesn't like know for an answer. to say that Jesus got your soul and I got your ass, that means you taking something. You coming in to take. But man, what? Come on, Mongo. Like, what's going on, bro? And then to bring God into it, like, come on, man, don't do Reggie like that, because Reggie was not shy about his faith. Like he put it out there.
Yeah.
And damn, I think this was the same year I met R. Kelly at church too.
Oh boy,
that's a whole different story.
I don't know if we're going to record those stories. We'll keep that offline. But so the match, Mongo's got control. He's working the leg of Reggie. And then Reggie starts to fight back, and Reggie hits a suplex onto Mongo, and Deborah has to get up, distracts the ref because her man's in there, Mongo, and then Mongo, with the ref distracted, grabs his Halliburton briefcase, but Gilbert Brown, Reggie's teammate, grabs the briefcase away from him so he can't use it. But lo and behold, old Double J's in there with a second Halliburton. They saw this coming, I guess. Throws it to Mongo. Mongo smashes Reggie with the briefcase, and Mongo gets the 1, 2, 3. So through dubious means, Steve Mongo McMichael gets the win. But it was an entertaining match. It's kind of hit and miss when you have these like celebrity type matches, but I thought this worked.
Mm-hmm. I'm just surprised that Reggie got cheered, even though of course he's playing the face, but he's in North Carolina, and obviously home of the Panthers. Obviously NFC rival over there. You also got Chicago inside the mix too. It's like, come on, man. Like, but he ended up getting the cheers and everything. But once again, surprising to see Reggie be able to get off his feet and suplex and the drop kick. And for a lot of the football players that came in during that time, I think one of the things was they couldn't take like too many bumps. Only because the NFL's like, well, yeah, we don't mind him doing this, but you can't have him out there doing the same shit y'all doing.
Yeah, for sure. But man, the football players just keep on coming. We got the main event on our hands here. We got a 6-man tag. We got the NWO, represented by Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Six. The Wolf Pack. Ain't no what's the song? Don't turn your back on the Wolf Pack. That's a link there. Goddamn. Disrespectful. Taking on the team of Carolina Panthers, Kevin Green, Roddy Piper, and Ric Flair. Charlotte, North Carolina. everybody. So when Ric Flair comes out, I mean, moms are throwing their babies in the ring. People are throwing popcorn. They're punching each other. I mean, it is just mayhem in there. They love themselves some Nature Boy.
Yeah, they do.
Hot crowd. Plus the Carolina Panthers representation here and Rowdy Piper against the NWO, biggest heels in the company. It was just a recipe for success here. I didn't have a lot of expectations for this, but I mentioned it earlier. I'd probably throw match of the night at this just based on vibes alone.
Mm-hmm.
The finish of this match, I mean, there wasn't a lot of fat on this match. It was pretty go the entire time, but I don't know. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, the match was, it wasn't a lot of slow pacing, right? It was off to the start. To have Green come out there gets a huge pop. Like you would have thought he was a WCW wrestler, right? Gets a huge pop. He comes out, Roddy, Ric Flair, who's returning from an injury. And the more I watch that entrance, the more Charlotte looks like her dad. But like I don't care how much plastic surgery you get, you look like your daddy. Okay, you ain't gonna be able to change that Flair look. You daddy. You your daddy's son, even though you're a girl. How about that? But this was a good match, man. It was definitely, like I said, Monday Nitro. It was definitely Monday Nitro. It was definitely WCW set. Well, I'm not gonna put it in WCW Saturday Night category. It was either a Nitro or a good Thunder match, but they did what they had to do to sell the ticket, right? It's in North Carolina. It's a pay-per-view. Why not book y'all favorite son? Why not get Ric Flair out here? So, and why not go ahead and book Green over here from the Panthers? Like, why not do that? So it was definitely a good one. And the shoulder tackle has to be the MVP of the night. Yes, between Mongo and Reggie, and then Green, like them shoulder tackles was out there like all night. But it was a feel good match.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you made the point. Rick's returning from injury here. He's been on the shelf for like at least 6 months at this point. So the crowd was hungry to see Rick. I mean, anywhere, everyone wanted Rick to come back, but especially in Charlotte, just huge moment for him. On top of Kevin Green, the local football player, of course, and Roddy Piper. It was just, I mean, the crowd was all for the baby faces here. I mean, just the pop that, they all get in the ring, they make their entrances, and the babyface teams try to figure out who's going to start the match. And once Kevin Green and Roddy Piper get on the apron and the crowd realizes Ric Flair is going to start, I mean, they just erupted just based on that. I mean, babyface Ric Flair, like in this era, I feel like you don't see it a lot, but man, his fire, his hot tags that he got in this match, the chops, the everything, the bumps he was taking, even everything about him was just so hype. You could tell he was glad to be back in the ring.
Yeah, remember when he chops Kevin Nash and Kevin Nash looks at him, he's like, no, fuck it, come on. So like that, I definitely like this version of Ric Flair returning from the injury. Like you said, we don't get a lot of babyface Rick. Rick's been the heel majority of my childhood and my adult life. So
right,
so to see that small little glimpse, that was definitely something.
And Flair starts, and then Kevin Green gets tagged in. He arguably even gets a bigger pop. Like, people are just hyped to see him in the ring. God damn it, this guy looks like a wrestler. Jacked to the gills, hype. He's doing like burpees to get himself hype. He's a psychopath.
He's Mojo Rally before Mojo Rally.
Oh, no, don't. You're gonna ruin Kevin Green for me. Just Mojo. Oh man, that's a bummer. But so he's getting himself hyped. Kevin Nash gets in. He kind of smothers Green a little bit in the corner, but Kevin Green comes back with a big old scoop slam to Kevin Nash, which is very impressive. Obviously, a giant of a man this Kevin Nash is. Piper gets in there. Him and Scott Hall go at it. Piper does some of his boxing stuff in the corner, laying out Scott Hall. By the way, his leg is like very heavily taped. I don't know if this is like a real injury or if this is just like an angle. Like if there's like a beat down on Nitro. I don't really remember, but I know we're fresh off of his hip surgery, kind of fresh off of his hip surgery. So I don't know if it was playing on that. But no, the match keeps going. Flair gets a hot tag, lays everybody out. Shout out Six, by the way, who's a guy that you might not think fits in this main event at this point, but I thought he looked good. I thought he fit. The kicks he was throwing out, that spinning heel kick just connected. It looks so good.
Did you see the way he caught Rick in the face with that shit?
Dude, that's one of those moves. It's like that would never actually hurt somebody, but the way he did it here, I was like, God damn, he might have knocked him out.
I was like, damn, X-Pac. But back then, I mean, honestly, some of Sean Waltman's like good cutting ass shit happened in WCW. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Like 1, 2, 3 Kid was cool, right? I love 1, 2, 3 Kid. Once he became Six in WCW, it was up. It was up from there.
Not you don't think his X Factor run was his best stuff?
Oh, I mean, I think X Factor would have been great if they didn't have Justin Credible.
Oh, good old Aldo Montoya. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. So Six is in there getting a lot of heat from the crowd. I don't know if you caught the chant towards Six. At one point, they were not too kind. They made, I think the crowd thought he was a homosexual, which I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think it is based on videos I've seen.
Man in China.
Yeah, so some pretty unsavory things they're yelling at Six. Roddy gets the hot tag. This match is just like a series of like hot tags from the babyface side, but every time it was hype as hell. Roddy gets the tag, but the ref didn't see it, so the ref tries to get Piper back on the apron, and Piper just knocks the shit out of him, which made me laugh my ass off. So referee Randy Anderson, I believe it was, he's knocked out. Nick Patrick comes out to replace him. Nick Patrick, he was just recently turned on by the NWO, so the question is, where does he side? And then the finish, man. The finish I thought was perfect. You got Flair locking in the figure 4 onto Scott Hall. You got Kevin Green. He chop blocks Kevin Nash. And then Roddy Piper locks in the sleeper to Nash. And Green hits the power slam onto Six. All one after the other, right next to each other. And Hall ends up passing out from the figure 4. Gets the 1, 2, 3, Flair does. And Green, Flair, and Piper get the win here. Huge, I mean, just an enormous reaction to this win. You don't see a lot of NWO losing at this point, so it felt like a big deal. And the fact that it was the hometown of these guys, like I said, great ending to the show. Ended on a high note. I thought this was great from bell to bell.
It was a good one. I mean, it was definitely, like I said at the beginning, feel good story. It's the hometown guy, hometown player. But I would say this, back then, man, tapping out wasn't a thing. Like, you had to literally pass out or verbally communicate that you gave up in WC. Right. So that was back in the day, man. But I definitely, like I said, if this wasn't a pay-per-view, which in today's standard, if I had to pay money for it, I'm not going to pay money for it. I'm going to go find a website back in 97, which probably
on the World Wide Web in 1997.
It probably been slow as shit. But
on dial up, you're going to download the show.
I'm going to dial it up and download it on my LimeWire, which probably would have killed my computer in 97.
Yeah. This 6-man feels like a match that should be like in the middle of a show, like a good match that feels like a pay-per-view match, but like in the middle of a show.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like we mentioned, like there's no Hogan, no world title match. You got the tag team champions and the cruiserweight champion locked up in the 6-man in the main event. So you don't see any of those title defenses. You got a women's match with no titles on the line. I mean, there's some good stuff on this show. I feel like the show needed like a really good like cruiserweight match because he didn't really get that. I feel like he had like the dumb Rey Mysterio, Yogi Bear match. He had what was the other one? Ultimo Dragon, Steven Regal. So he didn't really have a proper cruiserweight match. So that's one thing is I felt this show maybe lacked a little bit of that variety, but I don't know, that's kind of nitpicky. Overall, I thought this was a pretty solid show.
Yeah, it was like I said, good feel good show, but just I'm not spending my money to buy it. It was a good one though.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But you know what I would spend my money on?
What?
It's the Marks with Mike's podcast.
Oh,
Appreciate
listen, not at all. We're
Hell
free.
yeah.
We're from the children.
For free. Appreciate you once again, JT, coming on the show, talking some WCW. Where can everybody find your beautiful face and all your cast of characters and the Marks with Mikes and all that stuff?
Well, listen, if you're looking for me, you can catch me inside of your mama's,
Well, that's not. Oh, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to say that you can definitely find me at the company cookouts. I'm your mama work friend, but you can definitely find Marks with Mikes. We're everywhere but the electric chair as far as when it does come to streaming platforms, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, good podcasts. If you choose to use that, or Podbean, we're everywhere. So you can find us there. Of course, find us on all the major socials, YouTube, the Book of Faces, Twitter now known as X, IG, TikTok. I think we have a Blue Sky account, and I think I'm bringing it back to Snapchat account to do something different. But yeah, same name, MarksWithMics. We're everywhere. Shout out to everyone on the crew. Gotta say, shout out to Cheech. Shout out to Dallas. Shout out to Just. Shout out to Culture Clash Network.
Hell yeah. No, y'all got a great show over there. Great. I mean, the production on that show is great. It looks clean. Y'all sound clean. The content, it's whatever, but it looks good. That's what matters. Just Once again, thank you to JT from the Marks with Mikes podcast for joining me on this show. Returning to the show, always a good time with him. Go check out the Marks with Mikes podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube and all of that stuff. All of their info in the description below. Hey, you know what we got to do? Or you know what you got to do, Bartholomew? Hit that goddamn jangle. WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree, though. Heck, Myers is the shit. Alrighty then. WWF versus WCW versus ECW. Which promotion is hardest? Well, let's find out, shall we? So this is all as of May 16th, 1997. I completely guessed on that date. Let me check. Make sure that's right. If I'm right on that, you all owe me a nipple twist. 18th. God damn it. Now my nipples are all fucking soft. Well, anyways, as of May 18th. So we're not taking into account anything that happens after that. We're basically doing this as if we were watching live. We're going to look at the best and the worst of all three of these companies, and we're going to compile all the points. As of right now, WCW has 34, ECW with 15, WWF with 9. So the first thing we got to do here, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sharing my screen. You can follow along visually, but if you're listening, I'll walk you through it as well. Pay-per-views, pay-per-view grades, shall we say. Let's grade this bad boy from a scale of 0 to 100, because this will feed into the overall scoreboard eventually. Slamboree. What are we thinking, gang? 0 to 100. We gave In Your House 15 a 71. Spring Stampede got a 77. It's definitely not as good as Spring Stampede, but I don't think it's too far behind. Uncensored had a 78. I'm thinking this is in the 70s. Slamboree, I think we're 70s for sure. Is it better than Cold Day in Hell? Something I just recently recapped. Got a 71. I kind of think so. Let me see. Let me type this out and see how it tastes. 73. 73 for Slamboree. Equally as good as WrestleMania 13. I'm kind of wondering if I lowballed WrestleMania. That's too late. We can't go back. No regrets. That's what I always say. I think 73 is fair. For Slamboree, I think 73 is a fair score. So what that means, we go and see which promotion currently has the highest average grade. And still ECW just barely has the highest average grade. ECW is a 72.67. WCW with a 72.20. So like less than half a grade away, which is crazy. What a tight race. And WWF has 63. They're not in the running as of right now, but we'll see. There's a lot of shit. We're not even halfway through the year, so a lot can change. But what that means, we go back to the overall scoreboard and we see best highest average pay-per-view score. ECW maintains those 15 points. So no change to the scoreboard thus far. Best TV, we're tracking WCW as the best. I think we keep it there. Not a lot. I'll say this. Not a lot has changed since we last looked at this. Other obviously than the Slamboree happening. Not a lot has changed across the board. So I don't know if we're going to see a lot of changes, but we'll see. Best TV, we're going to keep it at WCW. I think they just have a more... The stories are more threaded throughout the show, and there's more interesting stories. While, yes, everything's kind of tied to the NWO, or at least like adjacent to it, I think that makes for fun weekly TV, both in the ring and out of the ring. So, speaking of that, best in-ring, we're tracking WCW, and also best out of ring, we're tracking WCW as the best. I said this last time, I think WWF is very close to being better in ring. But now that I'm thinking about it, Slamboree didn't have a ton of good in ring stuff outside of the main events and Dean and Jarrett, I guess. But even that was kind of like, it was a little forgettable. Whereas WWF is coming off of a pretty good in ring showing with In Your House 15. But not great. I don't think they're good enough yet to overtake WCW at the moment, but I think WWF continues to shorten the lead there. So WCW still maintains best in ring, and I think best out of ring too. Not a lot has changed across the board, so we'll leave it at that. So no changes there. Match of the year, we're tracking Brett versus Austin, WrestleMania. Again, I think I said this in the intro, but I think the main event of Slamboree is a top contender, but I don't think it's number one, unfortunately. I'll throw it in top 10 for sure, maybe top 5, but not one. One is still Brett and Austin. So WWF holds on to those 5 points. Wrestler of the year, we're tracking Stone Cold as the best. Anyone on this show? Dean Malenko is quietly having a really great year. I think he's just missing that character element, because as best wrestler, this takes into account character and in-ring, whereas Stone Cold is kind of providing both of those things at the moment. Dean Malenko is only providing one of those things. Benoit you can throw in there maybe. I think he's in the running. DDP. I don't think DDP's catalog of matches is nearly as good as Stone Cold's. Otherwise, I think I'd throw him in there probably. I think we'll leave it at Stone Cold for now. WWF maintains those 5 points. Best character / storyline, we are tracking the Hart Foundation as the best. Anything on this? Do we throw Mortis versus Glacier in there? I don't know. I think it's, on the whole, it's very silly. There's not a lot of meat to it. It's just kind of a fun thing to watch once a month, kind of. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think Hart Foundation has a lot more meat to the bone. Each guy involved has like their own thing, and it's headed by Bret Hart, who is arguably, you could throw him as best wrestler of the year too. Either way, it's WWF. But I think Hart Foundation is still pretty strong as the best kind of character / storyline going right now. But you might see that and you might be like, well, hardest part of the ring. You said WCW had the best overall out of ring product. Well, yes, because they have more breadth Whereas WWF just has like the one thing that's good. And that's pretty much it. Whereas WCW has a bunch of things that are at least pretty good. And ECW is kind of, I don't know. ECW is in a weird spot right now. We'll touch more on that here in a few weeks. Best segment of the year, Diamond Cutter to Scott Hall on Nitro. What are we thinking there? What other segments have happened? Nothing. I mean, if anything's happened, I feel like it would have been on WCW anyways. So nothing on this show, Slamboree, really caught my eye. So we'll keep it as DDP Diamond Cutter to Scott Hall. So no changes thus far, but now we're at the worst section. So we're going to look at the worst match of the year. We're tracking Undertaker versus Sid from WrestleMania. Yeah, nothing on this show is even kind of close to being that bad. So WWF holds on to that -3 points. Worst wrestler of the year. We're tracking Prince Iaukea as the worst. This guy's kind of disappeared a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at some point, like, yeah, maybe your presence was shit when it lasted, but if it doesn't last long, is it really the worst? Think about it. I don't know who would be worse. Who would be worse, gang? Chat, let me know. It's not live. I mean, I'm recording this by myself, but chat, hit me up. Or leave a comment, though, if you're watching, on YouTube, or you can leave comments on Spotify as well. Leave a comment if you disagree or with any of this. Prince Iaukea, anybody worse off the bat, off the dome? We'll leave it there. I have a feeling he won't be there by the end of the year, so it is what it is, but worst character / storyline, we're tracking Honky Tonk, Billy Gunn, Jesse James, that whole debacle. Yeah, nothing from WCW right now is nothing's really bad, honestly, from WCW. Maybe like the Luna Medusa stuff, but like they haven't really given any TV time to it, so it's like if a tree falls on somebody in the forest, does it really kill them, kind of thing. Or whatever the saying is. Worst segment of the year, Miss NWO. You know the deal. Yeah, that's always going to be it. Nothing's going to beat out Miss NWO as the worst segment of the year. All right. Well, that all being said, no changes, I don't think, right? Yeah, no changes to the score here. WCW is still in the lead with 34 points, but we are not even halfway through the year, like I mentioned. So lots of time for things to shake up. We've seen big swings over, a show or two. So make sure we keep an eye out for that, gang. I'll post this on the socials too and see if anybody out there has anything else, has any maybe arguments, debates, perhaps. Maybe things I'm overlooking. Like I said, if I'm overlooking anything, let me know. Hit me up in the Discord or the DMs or my OnlyFans. Like shoot me a message. Want to hear from you. But yeah, that's all Daddy has for you guys today, huh? What do we think? Did y'all have fun? I did. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Yeah? How's that make you feel? Yeah? Oh, yeah? What do you think? I got this new, it's like a golf. It's a performance quarter zip. You know what I mean? So like it looks like it's a little more pink than I thought it was going to be. But I think I like it. It does feel like it's like not choking me, but it's like if I'm gonna go swing the golf club after this, right? I'm looking down, it's like jabbing into my Adam's apple. Do I just take it off? Do I just go golfing shirtless? Is that the only solution? I think so. More on that at 11. So anyways, why are you still here? Go away. Appreciate you guys listening. Love you all. Big ol' smooches all over that face of yours.
Yeah.
I'm hard.
The hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.